Hi, welcome or welcome back to Books and Bocadillos. My name is Mariandrea, and I am jumping into the summer of short stories or short story summer. This event is, I believe, created by Randy Ray at the Literate Texan, and I heard about it through Crystal at Fiber Artsy Reads, and I just heard about it this, well, I first saw saw it listed yesterday after I created my um, Yaga's TBR, and then I saw Crystal's August TBR this morning and learned more about this reading event. And I decided I can't commit to doing a short story, to reading a short story every day for the month of August, but I can commit to something that I'm going to call Sunday of Short Stories or Short Story Sundays um, during the summer, during the month of August. So this is the first Sunday of August, and I just recorded this video in which I recorded myself reading a short story and then talking about it. The video didn't actually save to my hard drive, so when I went to edit, there was nothing there. So I'm refilming it, and I'm just going to tell you what I read, what I sat here and read for the last 30 minutes that you didn't see me actually read, but I promise you, I just finished reading the story. I picked up Yoko Kui's Seven Little Sons of the Dragon, a collection of 7 stories. I talked about this collection in my TBR video. And I started with short story number 1. I talked in my TBR video how this author was recommended by a stranger at Barnes & Noble, and I decided to go with this short story collection to get a feel for the author before I jump into the series. That's really, really popular. I keep forgetting the name of the series. It's a foodie series. Delicious in Dungeon or something like that. So there's a bonus comic in here, and I haven't read it yet, but it looks really cool. This first story that I read is titled The Dragon Turret, and it's about a it's about two countries at war. The war has ceased because there is a dragon. The dragon built a nest between these two lands, and because there's a dragon, the people are in fear, and they don't want to risk being attacked by the dragon. The dragon is protective of their young, and they're just waiting for these little eggs to hatch and these dragons to be born. But because of the dragon's protectiveness, they're afraid to get caught in the middle. So they stopped fighting. But one of the countries took in a young man as prisoner and were torturing, it seemed like waterboarding the young man, asking him to reveal secrets. And then they end up deciding to release this young man, Sansa, I believe is the name of the young man. They release him because they come to a negotiation. They ask him to deliver salt to them on a regular basis in exchange for his freedom. Both countries agree that they will return to the war after the dragons leave. Once the babies are born, and then they can leave the nest, and then the parent dragon will leave as well. But in the meantime, they've worked out a peace agreement on the condition that Sansa, I believe the name of the young man is Sansa, that he will bring them salt. And at first, there's this distrust. Maybe this man isn't going to follow through. This young man isn't going to follow through with the promise. And he does. Sansa returns with salt. And the really interesting thing is that Sansa's the only person that can get through without the dragon being threatened. And so people are in awe that he's able to travel back and forth between the countries. And so these countries end up exchanging goods. So in exchange for the salt, then Sansa then takes home other goods that are not available to them. And then he ends up delivering more than just salt. And one of the chiefs or the captains has a daughter, and this daughter hates people from the other side, right, of from the other land, and is very distrustful of Sansa. But over time, they get to know each other. It's like the walls come down, and they begin to see the humanity in themselves and in each other. And um, the story has a little bit of like Romeo and Juliet vibes with these two young people um, connecting and falling for each other, despite their parents, their countries being at war. And it ends on a hopeful note. I won't tell you how it ends or what happens, but there is this sense of connection and hope and trust in the other person, and that's a big improvement. I think what this story tells young readers and tells all of us, really, no matter how old you are, is that oftentimes we have these prejudices and we believe that people on the other side are not, people who are different from us are not good or not human or not worthy of our trust. And this challenges us to see past those prejudices and past the unknown, and give the stranger, the person that you do not know that isn't like you, a chance to show their humanity and to actually like forge real connection with each other. And I think that's the message here, and it's very hopeful, and it's a needed message in this world. Um, so yeah, I think the dragon is a symbol. At first, it's like this threat to their existence, but then it's actually like this being that is scary and came to make people feel threatened by their protective nature of their young, actually ends up being a peacemaker. So there's this reflection on who are the peacemakers, and sometimes, peace is achievable even when you don't think it is. There's so much to unpack, but those are just my fresh baked thoughts just after having read this first short story. I'm in. I think I like the graphic. It is a manga. I liked it. I think the characters were really compelling, really interesting, and I'm looking forward to the next story. Next Sunday, I will not be reading from this collection. I'm going to try to share a different short story collection every time, just to highlight different young adult authors and young adult short stories. But I'm glad that I got started on this one, and I look forward to continuing with it. And I'll be back again next week with a different short story collection. Hasta la próxima. Happy reading.